Yes, that's what I'm asking. I'm trying to get the wisdom from you guys to share with our viewers. What's the secret of 25? There's so many marriages out here that are breaking up. In fact, we were just talking with Valerie, during the pandemic, if you had issues with your marriage before the pandemic, now you're cohabitating, you're quarantining together, you're doing all these other things. And I mean, it's just going to really, exasperate the issue. Right. And so what's your tips? What's your ideas? What are people, what should we do? What should our people do to kind of keep the marriage together, especially when, there may be issues, and there are issues with every relationship, right?
Absolutely. Correct. And if you got to work on everything and every day, it's not something that you can just say we're married or have a girlfriend. You have to work on it every day. You're both different people still, and you have to give them space, and they give you space. And you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to run into walls. You're going to have arguments, disagreements. It's how you handle it, and everybody's different. So you have to want it to make it work.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of
you can say that again. You have to want to make it work.
Yeah, and if you really want to make it work, just to highlight, is that you have to have communication and respect. So there's a lot of times where, when you deal with those situations where there's conflict, you need to be able to know when to say something and when not to say something. I mean, communication includes verbal as well as knowing when to let something go for the moment.
Yeah, you can't win every battle, and not having the last word is not always the right thing. Sometimes you got to let the other person, take it and go with it. So, yeah, that's exactly right. And, my thing, at least my mother told me, she says, don't ever go to bed angry. Don't ever go to bed angry with your husband. She says, whatever it is, at least try to patch it up before you go to sleep. Then if you want to get up in the morning and go after it, then yeah, that's a different story. But yeah, so what other
talk about it?
Yeah, I agree. I think because even in the book, it's funny you should mention that, Anissa, because my mother gave us the same advice as well. And I mentioned that in the book, how she says you never go to bed angry with your mate, that somehow you work that out. I mean, because and part of that is that nothing's guaranteed. I mean, ain't no guarantee too you're going to wake up tomorrow morning. Life is just that short. It can happen. You could be alive today and gone tonight. That's how quick things happen.
Yeah, that's it for sure. That's for sure. So tell me, how did you two meet?
My cousin brought me to his summer job one summer in 1971 and introduced me to Valerie and some of his friends, and I think I was interested right away in Valerie because we started calling each other and talking, and we snuck and seen each other a few times because her mother was not for that.
Yeah, it was because I was 15 at the time, and she thought that I was 15, he was 16. And we were working in the summer, and, a boyfriend and a girlfriend, you all tried. I mean, it was kind of like we got serious in terms of building this friendship and knowing that we just wanted to be with each other fairly early in the relationship. It was, even though we didn't express it at that moment. So for instance, say we met in June, July of the summer of 1970. And then in 1971, we considered ourselves to be like exclusively dating one another, if you will. So at my 16th birthday party, he surprised me with, my mother calls it a friendship ring. We would think it was like, I'm yours and you're mine.
Put a ring on it. I love it.
Put the ring on it.
One very important thing that we did a lot is talk. We talked about what we wanted and different kind of lifestyles, because we've seen so much growing up. We didn't want to be one of them statistics, in other words, of marriages and whatever. We just talked a lot about what we want and what we should be doing, and it came along. So a lot of talking is very important, to see what she wants in life, to see what he wants in life, and you don't hold them back. You support them.
Yeah, because growing, as Vincent mentioned, we're two different people. And so if you keep that in mind, a lot of times people get into relationships where, they think that, their mate is a certain way, and that, I'm going to change them when we get married. And, people are who they are, usually. If anything, you may grow and you may grow together. And that's really what the relationship you want. You have individual things that you do as individuals, but then together, and you're sharing your dreams with each other. And then together you're growing. And this is what happened. So we built our relationship on friendship first. We were lucky. We had years in between our relationship. So we started dating in 1971, and was 1975 we got married. So we had 4 years to explore.
That's important.
Discover.
So tell me about that, because you guys met when you were 15 and 16, right? So were there other people that that may, and I'm sure somebody else tried to holler at you or date you guys? How did y'all handle that? Because that happens now, even
it happens a lot now. It's not easy, but you have to put a wall up on a lot of things. People coming at you, and you can believe they came at you. Both of us, as a matter of fact. So it's all about being strong and being honest with yourself, and if you have any kind of guilt trip, that will stop you too.
The ego, yes,
the ego.
That's a whole nother talk show right there.
You talk to each other, you address the problems, and you talk about it. You might disagree with each other even on some things, but it's not going to kill you. It's not going to destroy your marriage or friendship, hopefully. Because it's a little thing. It's a little thing.
And the scheme of the relationship, what's dividing you at that moment is the very little thing when you think about what it just might cost you and your relationship.
I am so thankful still today that I had met this woman, because she had saved my life. Pretty much. I was out there now, believe me. I played a lot of sports, but I was out there. And
so, Mr. Foxx, what kind of sports did you play?
Oh boy, softball, baseball, football, basketball, just about everything I can get my hands on. That kept me busy. And when I met her and she came to games and stuff, this is what saved my life from the streets. People that wanted me to play for them, or my wife, and sports had a lot to do with saving my life too. The Boys and Girls Club, or Roxbury Y, things like that pretty much saved my life from the streets. And of course, my wife Valerie, most of all, saved my life. I believe that.
Well, and I say that there's these lyrics to a song that we wrote that we never published, but it basically was that God put us into each other's life. God gave us the gift. He was my gift. I was his. And the reason for that is that he says, I saved his life. I say he also saved my life, because we just saved each other's life, because now we had somebody who believed in us for who we were, with all of our challenges. And then, when you're meeting somebody and, you got history and baggage in your family, that, you're hoping that they will love you in spite of. And so we had those kind of things that we were hoping
And believe me, family can be a trip.
So we can't hear you at this moment.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I mean, I was doing some research for this interview, and when we looked at, some research was done by various media outlets, and they looked at what was one of the number one things that cause couples to have issues, and it was family. Different relatives, intervening or making comments and so forth. So how did you guys deal with that? So I know your beautiful mother, and so and I understand. I mean, just in meeting her, I know she doesn't play any games. So I'm sure she was no nonsense, and as you guys were getting together in a relationship. But what other things kind of came in between you guys, and how did you guys work through that?
Well, family, first of all, we kind of never really let families' opinions dictate our life and the things that we wanted. I think because we built such a strong foundation from the time that we had with each other, that we knew that was one of we were young in age, but very mature because of the things we had already experienced in our life. Yeah. And so we knew that one of those things that could come between any relationship was when you allow other people to tell you things that you should be doing. And we never opened up and shared anything with people that weren't in that tight network, our tight network of people that we could trust. So we never really had issues with, and I think it also helped with Vincent, because, they could kind of look at him and see like, oh, we ain't going to be testing those two. So I felt protected by him because I know he wasn't going to let anybody come in to our relationship either and try to destroy what we worked so hard to build.
Yeah, we're pretty much no nonsense people. We don't the negative stuff, and we don't allow in our lives. We don't allow people to tell us how to live our lives, and people look at us today and think that we're perfect or we didn't have any problems, but they're wrong. Right. Because you do have problems, and it's how you deal with them.
Yeah, and we didn't, we didn't let the world know that this is what we're dealing with, because people are looking for an opportunity. I joke about that cleanup woman song that was out there. The cleanup woman, waiting, and so they're admiring you from a distance, and in the back of their minds saying, "Oh, if anything ever happens to them, I'll be right there."
I'll be right there to pick up the pieces. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna pick him up. I'm gonna pick up Mr. Foxx. Hey, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get this good man. Something happened, go down. Keep telling me, Valerie, what's happening? What's happening?
Yeah, exactly. So
Lifehack.org is a website that. Hello.
Hi, I heard you talk about a website.
Yeah. For some reason, my internet seems to be spotty here all of a sudden. But yes, I was talking about lifehack.org. It's a website that features different things, talks about life and family. And I was in researching, looking at Dr. Battle. She's a doctor of psychology. And you hit on some key things that she touches on when she's advising people. And, number one, the insults and criticism, words carry weight. What you say to someone, they hang on to, and if you say positive things, they'll be thinking positive thoughts. When you start putting out negativity and name calling, that doesn't help. And she also talks about gossip and gossiping within the family. And you're right, Valerie, you can't tell everybody everything. Even your close family, you do want to, be careful, pick a few, what we call at Innovative Coaching, trusted agents that you can share what's going on with. but they're tried and true. These are people you've been through the fire with, people that you know you can confide in. And sometimes it's not your family. Sometimes sometimes it's a professional person, a counselor or coach, or sometimes it is a close personal friend that you can share things with. But yeah, you do want to be careful and you know what you're sharing. And what my mother used to always say, don't tell everybody all your business. You know, you got to keep it in, you know, keep it under wraps at certain points. So yeah.
My mother-in-law was there quite a bit for me, and we have such a great relationship. It's unbelievable. I used to, when I was working, I was going and people talked about their mother-in-laws, and I don't have that problem. She talked to me so much when I was even younger, and plus she was there when I lost my mother. So, and that was very strong for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you having having a good relationship with the in-laws is so important, and that's wonderful that you guys were able to do that. And so, you know, both of you have now, Valerie, you published a book. Tell us a little bit about the book, Our Love Story. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the inspiration for our love story, our life journey, is really based on our relationship. And so this past July, we celebrated 45 years of marriage. And so I thought I thought it would be fun to sort of highlight, you know, write a book. Obviously, we couldn't cover every detail, but I wanted to share, like our book is a testament to the trials, the tribulations. My husband briefly mentioned the tragedy of losing his mother. I lost my father. We lost a lot of family members as we were growing up and during our 45 years of marriage. So the book talks about those things and how we endured those, how we survived the loss of loved ones, the celebrations of life, you know, the good things that happen. They're intriguing stories about our personal experience. And also in the book, it talks about how tips on how you can improve your relationship. So at the end of each chapter, this is an easy read. It's the chapters are short, but at the end of them, there's also tips on how, based on whatever the subject might be, tips on how you can improve your relationship. So they're in there. And then there's even a chapter on 10 proven tips to create a happy marriage. So we're experts on our life, and we're sharing this from our opinions. So you have unlimited access by purchasing the book, and then it'll allow you, we broke it down into 5 decades because we've been together since the 70s. So there's short chapters based on the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the year 2000, and then obviously the 2020s. So it'll take you through that and ask you to use your imagination to travel back in time and to bring you up to the current celebration of our 45th wedding anniversary.
So this is good stuff. This is good stuff that, you know, people can get. You can go right to Amazon.com and get the book, right?
Yes.
And then if people want to get a hold of you, Valerie, and connect with you and Mr. Foxx there, what's the best way to do that?
Well, we have a website, but I usually ask people to just contact me by my email address, which is butterflyfoxproductions@gmail.com. And I'll spell that out because it's BUTTERFLY, butterflyproductions@gmail.com. Or you can reach us at Valerie Foxx, and that's FOXX @gmail.com. Either way, you reach out to us, we will get back to you. Google us. I just set up my own YouTube channel and posted stuff on there, so I'm kind of excited. But look for the Valerie. There's a lot of Valerie Foxes on the YouTube channel. But mine's right now, I have like 5 subscribers. There's a whole lot of other Foxes out there that are into things different than what I'm into.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll make sure that the viewers get a hold of this information. This is great. And Valerie, you were sharing with us. I mean, you've basically talk us through some of the things you've done in your career. You're an actress. You're author, best-selling writer, speaker. Tell us a little bit more about your background and about you know, how you've grown within this whole coaching and transformational development area.
Yeah, it started off young. When we were in the late 70s, my mother started a production company, and we had been doing drama and stuff like that. So that's how I got into the acting. So I get to portray a variety of different characters. We had a business called Link and Foxx Productions. My husband was very involved with that. And we produced one-woman shows, stage plays, and spotlighted authors, spotlighted entertainers. And then it went on into the 80s and stuff where I continued to perform. I got involved with real estate and started boosting my different careers. And my husband and I, in the book, we talk about a chapter on entrepreneurship, because my husband had his own youth organization where he worked with children. And we talked about how we supported each other as we grew and supported each other's dreams. And then I started continuing the acting, and then the writing really just happened in 2017. I mean, I had been writing poetry and stuff like that and doing things with my mother, but to branch out on my own, it happened with the very first book, Love Lives On, Life Before and After Death. And so what it was is, you know, I realized that people didn't want to talk about that subject. So I wanted to write a book about it, but also talk a lot about the healing, that love can heal all things, and that you can survive loss. So that book, because I never really was open with people about it, it was a healing process for me. I didn't know that that's what it was, but as I wrote about it, it was therapeutic, because I never really sat down and talked to anybody about what our family had experienced. But the point is to focus on life being too short. And I think that's the driving factor for being the actress, the author, and exploring new opportunities and just being there for each other. So that's our transformation. That's our
what she meant by being, you know, supportive of each other. For 27 years, I worked with the youth in the inner city, and I was out the house 6 days a week. And
wow.
The kids needed us then, and they need us now. So it was a great program. I started my own youth organization, and I had a beautiful staff of young men that I grew up with and played ball with, and we got them in by basketball, but we were mentoring them up here.
Yeah, that mentoring and coaching meant everything. And, you know, so my role was to support him administratively, show up at the games, help him prepare for, you know, the celebrations. We did an annual celebration at the end of the year. Their families were involved so that their family members could come to an annual banquet that we held. And we did all of this ourselves, our own money. We never reached out to anyone for funding, because it was a heart thing that we did it from. And to see the kids' lives change. Sometimes they would join at the age of 9 and stay with us through the age of 15, 16 years old. It was just amazing to see their transformation. And I was proud of my husband, because he made a difference. And I know he saved a lot of lives as a result of his program.
Absolutely. I was just thinking that now. I was just thinking about, you know, and just saying thank you for contributing and donating your time and energy to our communities and our underrepresented minorities and underprivileged youth, because it's people like you that make a difference. And so one of the things, in fact, we talk about in my book, Rerouting: A Guide to Changing Your Pathway in Life, is as people look to reinvent themselves, you know, do an inventory of the skills and knowledge that you have, and look at ways you can donate and give to your community by exercising your gifts. And so you guys are just a pinnacle of that. And I just love it. I mean, you guys are just so cute. We're going to have you back on the show for sure. And again, ladies and gentlemen, to butterflyflocksproductions@gmail.com to reach Miss Valerie Foxx. And also she's got her email available. You have been watching the Rerouting TV show on Exposure TV, the Coaches Network. Thank you so much for listening and following along. And remember, you can always begin again. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Foxx. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, thanks.
Have a great day.
Have a good day.
You too.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We're just closing out this exciting coaching session today. And I want to ask you, do you like what you see in the mirror? There's an age-old adage that says, never judge a book by its cover. The only trouble is people do. Think about it. How many times have you gone to the bookstore and been attracted to a book because of an eye-catching cover? Books that look worthy but dull rarely make the bestseller list. In fact, publishers spend thousands of dollars getting the book cover and design exactly right before a book is launched. It's all part of the marketing process. So believe it or not, you market yourself every day. Just look at a book. People judge you by the way you appear to them. More importantly, you judge yourself by your reflection. So what's seen on the outside is a clue to what lies within, and the converse is also true. So if you want to give your confidence a boost, the simple way is to adjust your appearance. Now, I'm not saying go out and get plastic surgery or spend a lot of money with doctors on cosmetic surgery. That kind of thing always looks fake anyway. What you need to do is show what you genuinely are made of and what you genuinely care about. It's easier than you think. Dressing nicely, I'm sure you've got a few pieces of clothing lurking somewhere in your closet that you only get out for high days or holidays. Get them out now. If you can afford it, go on a shopping trip. Go to the mall, upscale your wardrobe. Go to Amazon and order some things off Amazon. Go to the shopping network on Exposure TV and look at some things to maybe spruce up your wardrobe. Check out fashion magazines beforehand so you know what's in and what's right now, and adapt what you see to fit your own personal style. Just a few new pieces can revive an otherwise tired wardrobe. And then think about getting a new do. If you have had the same hairstyle for a few years, consider a change. Go somewhere different in the usual beauty salon or barbershop. Be in charge with your style. The results will be worth it. And then show others that you care about yourself, and they will respond accordingly. Let's continue this conversation. Join me on the Exposure TV Facebook page, the Rerouting Facebook page. I'll put the link in this chat, but join us and come and participate in the conversation. What are you going to do to change and make yourself more attractive and more desirable and have the loving, lasting relationship that you want? Come on and join us on our Facebook page. Go to rerouting_coach and let's continue the conversation. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to change and make yourself appear to be greater and have more fulfilling and loving relationships? Let's keep driving, and always remember, you can always begin again. Thanks for watching.